Hi, in this video I'm going to be talking about adding the outside pocket to your sister's bag. The sister's bag comes in two sizes. This is the little sister and the big sister. The construction is exactly the same for both bags, just for the little sister it's a little bit smaller. Now I recommend using a non-directional print fabric for this bag. If you want to use a directional print fabric like this right here, I would put that on the front pocket, the outside of the front and back pocket only. If you tried to put directional fabric throughout the bag, you've got to piece them together at the bottom, so you're going to have a lot of piecing to do, and I think it's just easier to have that directional fabric, if you want to focus on that, be just on the outside bag. You'll have to stitch a seam across the bottom to sew the pieces together. Now, non-directional fabric like this right here, this is a K-facet fabric. And this I would use for the binding, just to give it a little bit of pop of color. This is a Hoffman non-directional fabric, and again, the binding. And those are both non-directional fabrics. Those last two could be done either way. I've used the turquoise for the bag body here. Now, follow the directions to make your bag body. And you're going to draw a line across the center on both sides. So this is the outside of the bag, and this is the inside of the bag. Now the bag body has interfacing in it, and it's fusible on one side. You want the side that was fused to the fabric to be on the inside of the bag. I've attached my pockets. These are the inside pockets. And I've attached them to the bag already, and again I've drawn this line, so I've placed the inside pockets on the bag body, centered from side to side with this line matching, and just sewn in the ditch on either side to attach those pockets. The next step is that you will want to make your outside pocket. So this is the beginning of the outside pocket. You are fusing and interfacing to the outside piece. So the outside pockets consist of the outside piece and then a lining. So fuse the interfacing. Use steam when you're fusing that interfacing. If you don't use a steam iron, it won't fuse. So just be sure to do that. And one other note on the zippers. I like to use a zipper that has a wider zipper tape and a longer pull. Now this pull happens to have a great big hole in it so that you can attach a bow to the zipper. Makes it easier to pull. Also, you're going to be using 3 14-inch zippers for this bag, but you can cut them down from any larger size. Just make sure you sew across the ends so the zipper pull doesn't actually pull right off the zipper, so you can just sew right across there. Place the two outside bag pockets, right sides together, and slide the zipper in between. You want to have the pulls up on both sides. You're going to do this on both ends. And you'll stitch across with a 1/4 inch seam, like I have down here. The next step is to turn this piece right side out. So here I have the piece, and I've turned it right side out. Now you want to stitch 1/8 inch away from this seam. So you're going to stitch all the way across 1/8 inch away from that seam on both ends. Your next step is we're going to be adding the tops to the pockets. So you will place one piece of fabric underneath, and that is right side up. So your right sides will be facing. And you'll place a second piece on top, right sides facing. You'll do this on both ends, and you will stitch across with a 1/4 inch seam. So you will have a piece, when you're done, you'll have a piece that looks like this, where I've stitched across and flipped these out. The next thing, and you're going to do that on both ends, the next thing that you want to do before you stitch across the top of the zipper, you want to place your pocket backing on the back of the pocket. Now your pocket backing is also fused to a stiff interfacing. It just adds body to the bag. So place your pocket backing. Now notice how much smaller your pocket backing is than your pocket. The center seam, again, is very important. It's not so important that you center this from side to side, but make sure when you pin it on that you've matched this center seam. That way, your pocket backing will extend equally above the zipper on both the front and the back. So go ahead and pin this pocket backing onto the back. You will flip it over. You will stitch. This is when you're going to stitch your 1/8 inch seam across here and across there. The next step is you want to pull your zipper pulls back so that they're in the center of your piece, because we're going to be sewing across the ends. But we are going to sew across the ends from the back. So you'll flip it over, and you're going to sew here, 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 and across here. Trim the excess pocket. Now that you've got it all stabilized and attached, trim the excess pocket fabric off, and you will have a piece that looks like this. You have sewn across the top of the zipper from the front side, here and here. You've stitched very, very close to the edge across the zipper in 4 places. And now the next step is we want to attach your pocket to the bag. So what you're going to do is you are going to take your bag body and your pocket piece. Now you're going to bind the sides edges of the pocket. Now notice here and here, the binding definitely stands out, so you want to have a fabric that really contrasts well with the fabric, your main fabric. So you'll take this and you will fold the binding to the back, matching the center line and centering the pocket from side to side. You'll fold that binding back behind. Now ironing, I suggest that you iron the binding back, and then you're going to pin that on. I didn't do a very good job there, so let me try again. Pin the binding on all the way down, and then you're going to stitch in the ditch all the way down the side to attach your pocket to the bag body. Now the outside pocket is slightly wider than the inside pocket, so this stitching should not affect your inside pocket at all. The very last step is you're going to stitch across your pocket 1 inch away from that center line on both sides. What that does is it delineates the bottom of the bag. So I think you can see the stitching right here. So on that side and the other side. And it also gives the pockets a bottom so that nothing slides to the actual bottom of the bag. So you are all done with your outside pocket.